By the way, here's an NFL story. Tim Tebow is going to sign a one-year deal with the Jacksonville Jaguars and be a tight end. The reasons it works, Urban Meyer and Tim Tebow have a very strong relationship. Tim's also, I think, with Urban Meyer, will know his role. It's a one-year deal. We all know Trevor Lawrence is the future. Here's what worries me. Tebow's fans are wackos. They're just, it's hard to explain. And Trevor Lawrence is going to struggle because he's a rookie and he's going to have bad games and pick sixes. And that's the reality of it. And the Tebow fanatics who are always delusional will come out of the woodwork. Listen, nothing against Tebow. He's not an NFL quarterback. Well, he won a bunch of games in a row. A lot of guys. Mark Wilson. I remember Mark Wilson in the NFL. He won a bunch of games in a row. You can win a bunch of games in a row. It doesn't mean you're a great franchise quarterback. Tebow's not a quarterback in the NFL. He's not. I argued this years ago. Years ago. He's a tight end. He's an H-back. He's a tight end. He's a good kid. He works hard. He's got a certain ethos that I think works in the NFL. He makes your locker room better. But when he was, he had that kind of Tebow zeitgeist, and it was all this. I mean, they were doing Saturday Night Live skits on it. He was playing awful football. They'd put him into the end of the game. The defense would go into a prevent. He'd complete 5 or 6 passes. The Broncos had a great defense. Matt Prater would kick a 58-yard field goal, and the wackadoo Tebow fans would be like, yeah, see why? Yeah. See what? He was awful. So as long as Jacksonville and Urban can just say it's 1 year, it's a tight end, you're not a quarterback, then it's fine. But you're going to have to, listen, it's going to take about 2 bad Trevor Lawrence starts to get all the Tebow nut jobs, to get them writing the local paper and calling sports radio. Jacksonville is a college football town. It's a Florida Gator town. And so, you know how it is, we're in a post-truth society. You can tell people something. Trump lost the election by 7.5 million votes. They still don't believe it. Vaccines overwhelmingly work. People still don't believe it. It doesn't matter if you give people the truth anymore. They go to their wacky Reddit board and they just have their own reality. So with Tebow, be careful. The power of conviction. He's got a huge faith-based following that he has got a Messiah thing working that you just can't explain. It's a tsunami. And if Trevor struggles, I can see that fan base going. I mean, that's a Florida Gator territory. This is not Tebow in L.A. Nobody cares. Nobody here cares about Florida Gator football. Nobody in L.A. It doesn't even exist. They couldn't tell you if it's Florida, Florida State. Nobody cares. But you get down south, you get to Florida Gator territory. Tebow is the most popular player by a mile in the history of the SEC. Forget Florida, in the history of the SEC. That whole geographical footprint, it's Tebow, and I don't even think it's a player next. It's a coach, Saban, maybe Spurrier. I mean, Bear Bryant. He is so far and away the most popular player in the history of SEC football. I can't even think of a second place. Cam Newton was only there for about an hour. I mean, Tebow is – you can't – sometimes, folks, you just can't explain stuff. Tebow's NFL following, when I worked at ESPN – they would have articles, and people were like, you guys never stop talking about Tebow. We couldn't. Literally, the Tebow articles in Denver were not only the number 1 most downloaded by America, it was like triple over the average Giants article, Cowboy article, Packer article, Steeler article. Sometimes you just can't explain stuff. I think 100 years from now, it'll be hard to explain the Trump presidency. I don't know how you're going to explain it, but it is what it is. Stuff gets momentum, and I hope it works. But I'm telling you, it's thank God it's Urban, and thank God it's a 1-year contract. So he'll be a part of the Jags. Listen, it'll be fodder for sports talk radio. You got
to respect the hustle, man.